artificial insemination, that is here, she will give birth after 9 months, right? Let's understand what is animal exploitation. You can see a tag on this cows here, right? What is speciesism? Let us think about backyard hens. They will not. So today's topic is about animal exploitation and how to stop it. It's not just about animal exploitation. And when I say how to stop it, I'm talking about animal exploitation that is because of human-inflicted animal exploitation. How we are part of it. So how we are part of this exploitation and how we can end this exploitation. Just by making small conscious choices. To understand this animal exploitation, there are certain terms called speciesism, veganism, and use of animals. So let's start the session. First of all, let's understand what is animal exploitation. To understand animal exploitation, first I want to give you a brief about what is the meaning of exploitation in general, first of all. Let me give you one small example. I have a friend. He's my, you can call him Chedi Dost maybe. He has been my friend from the day he was born actually. I was 3 years when he was born. He recently completed his bachelor's in computer science. And he joined a job. Before joining the job, he tried searching for a job for a very long time, and it was very difficult for him to get the job because in that field, lots of competition is there, and you can say the qualification was not enough from the side of company. They felt the qualification was not enough. So none were hiring him. But after a lot of time, after searching for a long time, he found a company and his salary was 15,000. Now, to go to that company, he had to travel 2 hours to the company, and coming back was again 2 hours, to and fro. Just imagine how much amount of time he was spending just for traveling. And not only that, adding on that, they were giving him lots of workload. And because of the toxic work culture there, many people left. Now, because of that, their work was also on his shoulders. But he had no choice. He had to do it because he had no other choice. And they knew that if he leave here, he will not get any other job. So they took advantage of that and they kept on making work a lot. So this is one classic example of exploitation in workplace. So you're making maximum profit out of someone against their will by taking advantage of them. And that's what is happening to animals. So when I'm saying exploitation of animals, animal exploitation, we are making maximum profit of these animals by exploiting them, by taking away their freedom, by taking away their bodily autonomy, and completely making profit out of them. So let me read what it is. Animal exploitation refers to the use of animals for human benefit. So what is meaning of use of animals? For example, I'm using this laptop right now for the presentations. I'm using the screen for the presentation. I'm using this mic for the presentation. For my benefit, that is to give the presentation here. Same way, we are using animals for our benefits and for our wants and not for our needs. And that is what is the meaning of use of animals. And when we are using animals, we are doing it against the consent and we are not taking the permission. Consent means permission. We are not taking the permission of that animal. So we are doing it against the consent. And this exploitation includes practices such as factory farming, testing on them, and also using them for food or clothing or various other ways. Now, what exactly is factory farming? For example, this factory manufactures certain items, right? That is manufacturing of items. There is a factory that manufactures this laptop. There are factories that manufactures mobiles. When they manufacture in large scale, right? It's not one item or two items, but in large scale, automated. Same way factory farming means we are breeding these animals into existence based on the demand and supply. The more we demand, the more they breed these animals, and hence the name factory farming came into existence. So we are looking at these animals like commodities. You can call the chair you're sitting on as a commodity. You can call the mic I'm holding as a commodity. But we cannot call someone who feels pain, who has the ability to cry, who has the ability to feel pain, not just mentally, but physically as well, as commodity. But that's how we are looking at these animals as. For example, ma'am, may I know what's your name? Yeah. Huh? Bhavya. So ma'am, when I say chickens, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Flesh, right? When I say chicken, what comes to your mind initially? Biryani. Okay. Your name, ma'am? Vijay Lakshmi. So when I say cow, what comes to your mind? Milk. That's the thing I'm trying to explain about. But when I say dog, what comes to your mind? Compassion. Not pedigree. I mean, yeah. But compassion, caring that for that animals, cuteness. But if you saw, when I say cow or when I say a buffalo or when I say chicken, when I say sheep, when I say goat, when I say pig, when I say farm animals, the first thing we remember is the meat or their secretions or something that we can get through them. That is how that is what I meant when I say we are looking at them as commodities. And this kind of exploitation not only gives them lots of physical, pain, but also they are mentally also distressed. If you have seen in dairy industry, normally a mother cow loves a child a lot, but what we do, we separate them both because that milk can be sold to humans. If the calf drink the milk, humans, they will not have milk to sell to the humans, right? Just like my mom produced milk for me, just like dogs produce milk for their puppies, just like cats produce milk for the kittens, cows and buffaloes also produce milk for their calves. But what we are doing, we are stealing that milk for us, for our use, for our benefit, and for our want. Now, I have been stressing on the word want and needs, right? I will explain what is the meaning of that later. But just wants is based on desire. Needs is something that is essential for our survival. But in detail, I'll explain later. So now I hope you understood what is the meaning of animal exploitation, right? So now let's go and learn about what is speciesism. And even before that, sorry, I forgot to say, in this picture here, you can see a tag on this cow's ear, right? When I asked your name, you had a name, Bhavyasri, right? Bhavyasri, okay. And I have a name, Dilip. My friend has a name, Mahesh. My other friend has a name, Safia. But these cows doesn't have a name. They have numbers. There are numbers assigned to them because they're again seen as commodities. And that's how this animal farming works. They may claim that they look at them or they take care of them like family or like mother, but that's not how it really works. If they really do that, why would they exploit them, right? Okay, now let us go and learn about what is speciesism. Just like racism, just like sexism. What exactly is racism, first of all? Racism means it is discrimination against humans based on race, based on color. In case of sexism, you are discriminating a person based on their sexuality. You are discriminating based on whether that person is a straight person or a gay or any other sexual, like transgender or any other sexual orientation. Just like the speciesism is discrimination against animals, towards animals, based on their species. And also in person with speciesist mindset looks at humans as the most superior species and look at every other animal as inferior to humans. And because of this kind of mindset, we kind of justify that using these animals is justified. It's okay. It's morally okay because they're lower to me. They're not as intelligent as me, so why not? Let me read it once. Speciesism is a discrimination between sentient beings based purely on the species and belief that some species, particularly humans, are superior to others and justifying unequal treatment. This ideology underlies many forms of animal exploitation. Now, what's happening here is people also claim that these animals are not as intelligent as us. That's why I will treat them the way I want. But the way pigs are treated, if you see, you will never have the heart to even, touch any other animal product for the entire life, actually. Pigs are the fourth most intelligent species. They're actually intelligent than dogs. And yet we exploit them a lot. But at the end of the day, does intelligence matter? No, it doesn't matter. What matters is sentience. What exactly is sentience? Sentience is the ability to feel pain, both physically and mentally. When you have the ability to feel pain, when you are feeling pain, you are trying your best to avoid not to feel the pain. You're trying your best to escape from that position. How does the intelligence matter? How does the intelligence matter? All that matters is whether they feel pain or not. Now, what we are doing, we are killing more than 3,000 billion animals every year. If you are aware, the human population is just 8 billion in a year. In the entirety. And 8 billion humans are killing more than 3,000 billion animals. And this is both marine animals and land animals. And this is all because of human greed, and it's not because of our needs. Now coming to the main part of the topic. What is veganism? Veganism is a social justice movement. So veganism is not a diet. Many people get confused with that. They think it is a plant-based diet, or eating a carrot, or eating healthy food, or caring for the environment, or it's about sustainability. No, it's nothing about that. Veganism is a social justice movement for animals, for the liberation of animals. Vegan activists, what we advocate is animal rights, to end animal liberation, to end animal exploitation and achieve animal liberation, to reject speciesism, because we share this earth, we don't own this earth. Just like I have the right to live on this planet, every other species, every other sentient being has the right to live on this planet, and we have no right to take away that from them. That's what is veganism. This is just an overview of that, but let me explain further. Veganism is a social justice movement that rejects the use of animals in all ways practically possible. When I say practically possible, I understand. In case of medicines, I can't. I have no choice. I am forced to use medicines though they are tested on animals. We vegans are against animal testing, but we don't have choice because we live in a world where everyone don't share the same ideology. But we are fighting against that. But until then, as far as practically possible, that is, at least medicines maybe it's a gray area and I might use. But when it comes to food, when it comes to clothing, when it comes to cosmetics, when it comes to our daily usage of products, when it comes to our ideology, when it comes to riding animals, when it comes to where we visit, for example, circus or zoos, we can always avoid that. We can always make conscious choices. And it's not that difficult. We are literally in a position where we check where do we get the maximum profit. I mean, not profit, but items at least cost. We'll check at DMart, we'll check at Reliance Mart, we'll check at More, and we'll check the prices everywhere, and we'll go wherever the prices are least, and we go buy there. We have that much abundance of food available, so we are not in survival mode, and hence we don't need to exploit animals for our wants. That's what veganism is. So veganism, in case of animal rights perspective, animal use is animal abuse. It's not just the cruelty that's happening to animals. For example, let us think about backyard hens. They will not cage them. They will not give drugs or hormones to them. The eggs will just lay, eggs, and will take that eggs. That is still exploiting because we are using something that belongs to them against their will. For example, ma'am, if I take your mobile, would you like it? If I take your mobile and if I open the password and if I start surfing your WhatsApp, will you like it? No, but why don't you like it? You have 4-5 boyfriends? It's because it's something that belongs to them, right? It's something personal to them. Same way, it is something personal to animals. How many of you are aware that in wild, chickens actually eat their own eggs sometimes? When we are doing this, we're not allowing the animals to live their own life. We are imposing our views on them, and we are kind of exploiting them. That is why animal use is animal abuse. Next, again, like I told, veganism is not a diet, and veganism is not plant-based. Plant-based means it's like, it's a diet. For example, people who are plant-based actually stop eating milk, drinking milk or eating meat, maybe for the health benefits or for the environmental, because they care for the environment. But these people don't connect with the animal rights perspective. So when you don't connect with the animal rights perspective, you might actually have cheat days. For example, if I go plant-based for the sake of health, I will not eat meat for 5 days, but on Sunday I will eat. Because I'm not connecting with the message, right? So that's why veganism is not plant-based. I will just play a small 1.5 minute video to understand veganism further.
What is veganism? Veganism is a social justice movement to liberate animals from human cruelty. And it's as simple as that. And no, veganism is not a diet. It's not a trend. It is not a Western propaganda. And no, it's not a religious movement. So then what is the difference between a vegan and a non-vegan? A vegan is someone who doesn't participate in animal cruelty, whereas a non-vegan is someone who directly participates in animal cruelty. How non-vegans contribute to animal cruelty? By thinking of animals as products for our use, be it in the name of fashion, food, or entertainment. Whenever we consume animal-derived products, we create the demand for it, which in turn leads to animal cruelty. Are non-vegans inherently bad humans? No, at least not all of them. But humans are nurtured to use animal-derived products, and we are also ignorant of the animal cruelty involved in our choices. We cannot make the connection between our choices and its consequences. And some of the common reasons are taste, which we have acquired over a long period of time, habit, which we have built for years, convenience, because animal-derived products are so common, and culture and tradition, because that dictates our everyday choices. So a vegan is someone who doesn't consume animal secretions like milk, who doesn't eat animal flesh, who doesn't wear animal skin, who doesn't use animal tested products, and who doesn't take part in animal entertainment like circus, etc.
So you can see we don't use animal tested products also, right? I just want to give a small overview of that. When I say animal tested products, you don't need to go buy fancy products as well. For example, for my soap, sometimes I use Medimix or Hammam. As simple as that. I'm not asking you to go buy some fancy products. When I use some sunscreen, I'll just check. I'll just check in the websites whether it is tested on animals or not. Most of the items actually it's very easily available. The data is easily available whether that is tested on animals or whether it has animal products. This applies for everything as well. Except, like I told, medicine is somewhere gray area where we cannot, live without medicines. We can try to be as healthy as possible, but sometimes still it's not possible. Now, next, I was talking about needs and wants, right? I gave a small gist about it. Now, let us go in detail about that. First of all, needs are essential requirements for survival and well-being, such as food, water, shelter. Wants are additional desires beyond basic needs, often driven by personal preferences or cultural choices. So what exactly does this mean? Essential requirements means, basic example, food, shelter, water, medicines, But also at present times in 21st century, even having a mobile is a need, because without that we are not living in a cave, right? We are living in a city. So even having a mobile is a need, having a vehicle is a need, having clothes is a need. Those are not wants. But the kind of mobile I want, when I'll have a 10,000 rupees mobile, or I'll have a 1 lakh rupees mobile, that is where want comes in. You can always have a mobile which is enough for your specifications, but also you can have a mobile for status symbol. But again, is it wrong to have desires? No, it's not wrong to have desires. But when you have desires, because of your desire, if some victim is involved, if somebody else is getting suffered, that's where is the mistake, is what I'm trying to explain. I'm not telling you don't have desires. I'm telling to satisfy your desire, don't ask or don't make, in fact, to be more precise, don't make someone else suffer for you. And in case of this suffering, it's so immense. My friend Mahesh will be explaining in detail later what happens in dairy, poultry, and other industries in brief. So that's the difference between needs and wants. And in case of needs, we don't need animal products at all. We can very easily thrive on a plant-based diet and with a vegan and non-speciesist mindset. Next. Reasons to go vegan. You already understood. Animals do not consent to be used and exploited, and they don't want to be murdered for our wants. The reason I use the word murdered here or not killed is because they're not dying. We are killing them, and we are killing them against their will. And that is nothing but murder in their point of view. And they are living sentient beings again. And they don't want to be exploited. That's the only reason we have to go vegan. And the main reason you have to go vegan is because, would you like to be in that animal shoe? For example, sir, what is your name? Kaushik. Roshan. Sir, would you like to be in your room 24 hours like how the lockdown was there and you're not allowed anywhere? I'll cage you. I will give you food on time. I will take care of you. I will give you AC. I will give you Netflix. I will give you Wi-Fi. Still you don't want to. I will give you 1 crore per month. Still you don't want to. So you're understanding what I'm trying to explain, right? It doesn't matter how well we take care of that animal. The animal if does just doesn't want to be used by us. That's what matters. If the animal doesn't want to be used, then we should not. And they don't consent to that. When we ourselves don't want to be in their shoes, how is it ethically and morally right in putting them into that position, right? It's not at all right. And imagine 3 trillion animals, that is 3,000 billion animals every year being killed just for our wants, which is completely avoidable. It's a massacre. So next, I just wanted to show this quote that there is no right way to do a wrong thing. I just want you to remember this quote. It's a very important, important quote to remember because, for example, Heinz milk or backyard hens. This is nothing but just marketing gimmicks. In case of Ahimsa milk, it's literally an oxymoron. Ahimsa is completely different, and milk, how the milk is derived is completely different. These both are completely opposite, so it's oxymoron. Cannot exist. Now I'll just give a small overview of what happens in dairy industry, how repeated pregnancies happens in for these animals. After that, my friend Mahesh will be taking over and explaining what happens in this industry, all the cruelties and exploitation that happen in this industry. So first of all, when does a mammal produce milk? Whether that's a cow or a buffalo or a cat or a dog or a human or a rat, they produce milk only after they give birth. And this literally includes cows and buffaloes as well. Most few people actually, including me, I used to think that cows just produce milk just after eating grass, just like that. But that's not true. Even they also produce milk only after they give birth. And once they give birth, whom do they produce milk for? For their babies. Right? And when they're selling the milk to us, what happens to the calf? The calf is starving because the mother can produce limited amount of milk. If you are drinking that milk, what is the calf drinking, right? Just like if my mom's milk was drunk by somebody else, what would I have? I would have been malnourished, right? The same thing applies to cow, buffalo, and every other animal as well. Now, normally a cow or a buffalo, on average lifespan is about 20 years, depends from breed to breed, but on average it's 20 years. But in this dairy industry, because of repeatedly exploiting them, tying them one place and artificially inseminating, you'll understand what is the meaning of artificial insemination later sessions, and breeding them and tying them in one place physically and psychologically, giving distress to them. Within the age of 5 to 6, majority of these animals become very weak. Few of them die, few of them get paralyzed, few of them get internal injuries. And because of all of this, even if they produce milk, the milk production will be so less, the revenue will be less than the cost they'll be the cost they'll be incurring. Or at one stage, they may not produce milk at all, and they're of no use to them. And that's when they'll send them to slaughter for beef later. And if you're not aware, India is the leading exporter of milk. We are the highest, I'm not exporter, leading producer of milk. We produce the highest amount of milk in the entire world. Now, what they do to keep this milk kept, for the cow to be continuously producing milk, this is what happens. First, I'll just put a timeline. This is 0th year and this is 5th year. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Now, once a cow gets pregnant, she will stay pregnant for 9 months, just like any other, just like human beings actually. She also stays pregnant for 9 months. After that, she gives birth, right? That's when she starts lactating. And just for the sake of this, they impregnate her. And this is done almost at the age of, as soon as she reaches first year, 1 year is done, almost at that age, they make her pregnant. They artificially inseminate her at this time. This is first artificial insemination. Now, after 9 months, she'll give birth, right? Now she'll start lactating. Once she starts lactating, she will continue to lactate for 1 year. But as the 1 year reaches, the lactation will reduce. The milk production will keep reducing. Right? So I will put a timeline here as well. She will produce milk for 1 year. After this, she will stop producing milk. So what do you think? They want to still continue producing milk, or they're enough? It's enough for them. They still want the cow to be producing milk, right? Do you think they'll artificially inseminate again at that time? Actually, no. They will not wait for the entire year to complete and the artificially inseminate her later. What they do is, after the first artificial insemination, that is year, she will give birth after 9 months, right? After that, within 3 months after the first birth, when she's already lactating, within 3 months itself, they will do second artificial insemination. So she's already lactating here, and she's again made artificially inseminated here. She'll get pregnant, and within 9 months again she'll give birth for second time. And once the milk production keeps on going down here till here, from here again she'll start continuing to produce milk for the second time. And this keeps continuing for the next 5 years. Continuously producing milk. Just because they want to sell milk and make money out of them. Imagine if they literally wait for the animal to stop producing milk. For the next 9 months, they'll have nothing to sell. But they'll be incurring costs. So you own this factory. So you'll be understanding what cost cutting and cost reduction and all of that stuff, right? So you might be understanding what's happening here, right? It's always you'll be trying to maximize the profit. That is one of the biggest aim. There are many other aims, but maximizing profit, reducing the cost is the biggest aim, right? Always in case of cost cutting. That's what is happening here as well. Because at the end of the day, you or me or the farmer is there to earn money when we are doing some work for someone or when we have our own business. So that time animal welfare doesn't matter at all. So this is what's happening in dairy industry in an overview.